All right. People who really want to have a good time won't come to a slaughterhouse. And we've got entirely too many troublemakers here. Too many 40-year-old adolescents, felons, power drinkers, and trustees of modern chemistry. It's going to change. Be nice.
That ain't working.
I want you to be nice.
That ain't working.
And you'll both be nice.
So much as my wife was a giant, but
I want you to be nice until it's time to not be nice.
no, I'm pretty sure that's the way you do it.
The Rees Company.
Crack open a tepid Genesee, watch the pictures as they travel through your neighbor's Wi-Fi. It's the Rees Company. I'm Steve Rees, the bull of American broadcasting, alongside the great Chris Morganti. And we're very excited tonight. We have a few things to get to, some news items we'd like to discuss. But our movie of the week is Project ALF from 1996. And we're going to get to that in just a little bit. But first, Chris, shall we talk about what happened immediately following last week's program?
I don't know what you're referring to.
Well, I'll tell you from my perspective.
Okay.
I got down the road a piece.
Oh, yeah.
I was headed back to the house because we were going to meet there.
Yeah.
And we both got a message from Jim saying somebody left their phone here. One of you guys left his phone here. So because I got the message, well, that's obviously not me.
Yeah.
So I did a really dumb thing, Chris.
You did.
I called you to tell you that you left your phone here.
Right.
And, of course, Jim answered.
Jim answered.
And, no, okay, well, it wasn't you, it was Chris. Okay, well, have a good night. So now I thought, well, man, I have to find Chris.
Right.
Now we're driving the same route back.
Yeah.
But I have to find you. I don't know how or when this is going to happen and how I'm going to relay this information. So I get about halfway down the freeway. And
by the way, I normally drive about, I would say about 20 to 25 miles per hour faster than you.
That's true.
The chances of you finding me were remote.
But somehow I had to make this happen.
Yeah.
So, because there's no other way to get in touch with you over this situation. So eventually, I'm halfway down the freeway.
You could have mailed me a letter the next day.
That's the other option.
Right.
Is that preferable to finding you somehow on the highway? So at some point I realized, right behind me, that's Chris. Fantastic. So I threw my flashers on and pulled over. And Chris, what did you do?
I went right by you.
Screw El Toro.
And I knew it was you. It wasn't a case where I didn't see you. I was just like, what the hell is he doing? Boom.
So now I'm like, oh, man, now I have to get back on the highway and catch up to Chris, which is not a small chore.
Well, I slowed down at that point because I thought maybe I kind of figured I knew what was going on. So I slowed down, and eventually
you slowed down, and eventually I came up behind you and started honking my horn. I got beside you, or I tried to get beside you, but you started, what did you do? Tell the folks what you did.
I don't know. I thought we were just having fun. So
you were under the impression.
Pull up, and I'd pull a little bit ahead.
It seemed that you were under the impression I wanted to drag race. Now, I don't know what it was about me that told you that was a possibility.
I was just kind of having fun.
So now I'm thinking we're both going to get killed because somebody can't remember his picking phone.
The reality is I got about a block away and I realized, I don't have my phone. And,
you know when I knew this?
I came back.
You know how I found this out? Let me tell you, folks. I finally got Chris to slow down enough for me to be beside him, and I'm yelling out the window, "You forgot your phone," honking my horn. "You forgot your phone. You left your phone." And Chris says, because Chris is a very soft-spoken guy, oh yeah, I got it already.
Now, see, I actually thought that because when I came back, Jim said, I texted Steve and he called me or something. So I kind of figured Jim would just say, he came back and got it.
Didn't have the decency either. I think
Jim
both
didn't
of
do
you
that.
failed me as human beings in this scenario. But that was days ago. We're all over it. Everything's fine. And as I understand it, you have a couple of news items you'd like to share with the folks.
Yeah, something happened down in Johnny Cash's original hometown where he lived until he was 3.
Is that Arkansas?
Is that where it was? Yeah, I think it was Arkansas. Yeah. They painted his portrait on a water tower, as you can see here, and some guy came along with a rifle and shot a hole in a compromising place. And, yeah, there he is. There's the fella.
There's the guy. Exactly what you might expect.
Yeah. So he wasn't long on the lam. This just happened yesterday or something. And they got him.
Clever act of vandalism, though.
Yeah, very clever, very funny. Apparently everyone there liked it, too, because they didn't fix it for 6 days. They just left it like that for 6 whole days. And it cost them $5,000 to fix, which begs the question, does no one in that town own a cork? For $5,000, I would have driven down there with a champagne bottle and a mallet and fixed this in 5 minutes.
I think this is a town where you immediately throw the cork away.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, the sad part is that they're going to have to take the Johnny Cash mural down now.
Oh, to discourage?
Yeah, well, they're
repeat?
going to replace it with a less controversial pop star, R. Kelly. So then they won't have to worry about this kind of nonsense anymore.
Right.
We should see what they did to the Brass Against mural. That wasn't pretty. But, and then I guess it's kind of a related story, but there was a celebrity death this week.
Celebrity?
Yeah, sort of. Porn star Logan Long dead at 34 after health battle.
Now, was the health battle specified?
It was. Here's the thing. They said it was pneumonia. Now, Steve, you remember the 80s,
Oh,
right?
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, remember when people of...
A lot of people were dying of pneumonia.
Yeah, people of a suspiciously young age. And I don't know. Is it politically incorrect to reveal people's HIV status now? Is that what's going on? I don't know. Or is it... is it...
Well, was he successful in this industry?
Well, yeah, he was the star of Family Ties. No, I'm sorry, Family Pies.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the show where he fucks all his cousins and stepsisters and stepmoms. Yeah, so yeah, Family Pies. But there's a quote. This is actually a quote from him, I guess, talking about how he got into the porn industry. So there you go. There's
yeah.
that.
It appears as though it was a dream come true for him.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. And then here's a quote from a colleague. I've watched the video of Logan Long peeing on me 5 times today. I'm so sad he was such a great guy.
Oh, well, Chris, we all grieve in our own way.
Steve, do you remember when the space shuttle Challenger blew up? And
Sure.
And Reagan went on television and said that they had slipped the surly bonds of Earth to touch the face of God.
Right?
Yeah, you know what Reagan didn't talk about was that time he went to NASA and they all threw dehydrated space piss on him. He left that out. But, we live in different times.
Right.
Yeah.
It was a time of decorum.
Yeah.
Not the case now. Any more you'd like to say
That's
about
all
these
for the
things?
news this week.
Okay, well, in that case, without further ado, we may as well go into our movie of the week of the week. Let's hit the intro, Jim. All right, the movie of the week is called Project ALF, and it aired on February 17th, 1986 on the American Broadcasting Company, or Corporation. Which is it?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, here's an interesting thing. Last time, we discussed a TV movie that served as the pilot for a long-ish running series,
Right.
the TV series Viper. This time, we're talking about one that served as the final episode of the series, albeit 6 years after the series supposedly ended.
Yeah.
Now, the reason for the gap in time is that ALF ended in 1990 on a cliffhanger, but it wasn't supposed to. The producers had an agreement with NBC where at some point they would be allowed to air the final episode.
Oh, okay.
And true to NBC's history, that promise was not honored.
Yeah.
So that allowed the producers to take it to another network, and 6 years later, they got to do their final episode of ALF on ABC.
Well, thank God.
Yeah. Now, Chris, did you watch ALF contemporarily?
You know, I don't recall ever having watched it, and yet I'm aware of that he liked to eat cats, and I know that guy that played the dad in the show.
Yeah, Max Wright.
He was also on the Norm show.
Yeah.
But I mean, I knew that he was in it, so somehow I was aware of this show, although I don't recall ever actually watching it.
Unavoidable, iconic,
Yeah.
a piece of the fabric of America, if you will.
And there was a cartoon, I think, at some point.
Yes.
As well. You know, an ALF cartoon. So, but no, I didn't watch it. Did you?
I did.
Okay.
Now, you watched some of it today.
I did. Yeah. After I watched the movie, I watched a couple episodes. One where ALF becomes an Avon lady. I mean, it was funny. I thought the movie was a little bit funnier, but you know.
All right. Well, after years of hijinks and hanging out with his adoptive home, because he crash landed on Earth into this family's home, the Tanners.
He crashed into their garage.
Crashed into the garage.
Yeah.
And they took him in and protected him in secrecy so that no one would know that this fantastic being who became part of their lives was from outer space.
Well, you know, when I watched the first episode, they were all concerned because they had a nosy neighbor.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like to watch them through the windows. So, you know, she saw ALF through the bathroom window and became suspicious. She, oddly enough, was not suspicious of the spaceship crashed into their garage.
That didn't raise her cackles.
Yeah, it was sticking out of the roof. There was no one questions that. But ALF walks around in a house coat and, you know, the FBI is called. But, you know, all right. That's not this movie.
And that woman was also in Kate's Secret.
The neighbor?
Yeah, Mrs. Achmanik.
Well,
Are we thinking of the same woman? Liz Sheridan.
possibly, but
Jerry
I noticed
Seinfeld's mother?
it was that in the second episode she was played by Seinfeld's mother. In the first one, it was a totally different actress.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was Seinfeld's mother at one.
Much like Seinfeld's father.
Right? Yeah.
We're getting a little deep here.
Yeah.
So, the way the series ended, and again, it ended on a cliffhanger. ALF was captured by something called the Alien Task Force, which apparently exists.
Oh, that's the end of the TV show.
Yes,
Oh, so it leads directly into the beginning of this movie. I did not know that.
it does, but there was supposed to be some sort of resolution.
Yeah.
There was not. This movie provides that.
Right.
And his fate was unknown. Cliffhanger.
So
So,
for 6 years, people just were on pins and needles, not knowing what happened to ALF.
yeah, okay, could you imagine?
Yeah. Thank God I didn't watch the show. I would have been a wreck.
Thank God OJ murdered his wife.
Oh, yeah.
That finally got us off. What happened to Alf? Is he okay? So, as Alf begins, Project Alf begins. Alf is a prisoner at a place called Edmonds Air Force Base, and there's a top secret meeting that's being held to discuss his fate and also the opposing views on just what exactly to do with Alf. Let's take a look at some of this.
Be done with the alien.
We know what to do with it. Some of us just don't have the guts.
It's not a matter of guts, it's a matter of human rights.
Aliens don't have human rights, Major. That's why they're aliens.
They're aliens because we alienate them.
Oh, please.
She's right. We found Alf to be a warm, friendly, occasionally annoying, but highly intelligent creature.
Sir, Alf is a menace to society and ought to be incinerated.
Don't you mean incarcerated, sir?
No.
Yeah, Martin Sheen there. Harsh words for Alf.
Yeah.
Now, could you imagine, Chris? You're a kid. You love the show Alf. Beloved figure. Lovable, wisecracker. He's known to be a wisecracker. Very charming, endearing. You probably own a lot of the stuffed animals. And you're watching Project ALF. Finally, the return of ALF. Then you hear Martin Sheen say he needs to be incinerated.
Yeah.
That's as though, let's say they did like a Care Bears reboot.
Right.
And the first episode was the Care Bears meet the Yukon Poachers.
Yeah, that would be unfortunate. However, maybe they just figured if you were a kid, 6 years later, you're of a different age.
Let me rephrase it. What if you were a kid who discovered, still very young, say 8, 9 years old,
Okay.
and you discovered ALF in syndication? Wow, there's new ALF.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there and hearing this.
Yeah. Well, people tried to be edgy in the mid-'90s.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had Kurt Cobain in that.
Yeah.
So also during this hearing, we learned something about the Tanner family. What happened to them?
Oh, incinerated? That spaceship finally caught fire in the house?
You don't remember what happened to them?
I do. They moved to another country.
They were
relocated to
They were relocated to Iceland,
Yeah.
which I think is bizarre. I don't see why they would have needed to be.
Yeah. I mean, the bigger question is why they're not in this movie.
Well, that's answerable.
That is. I don't know. We'll get into that later.
I think we can do this now.
Okay. All right. Well, you go ahead.
Well, tell them.
Well, it turns out that life on the set of ALF was a living nightmare. And no one wanted to come back and shoot this show. In fact, nobody wanted to be there to begin with. Things got so heated that the guy who played the dad once punched ALF, the puppet. Strangely enough, this is not the first time I've heard this story. Otto and George, I'm sure you're a big fan.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
There's a story about how he was making fun of some guy, and somebody walked up and stabbed the puppet. I don't know if Otto's hand was okay. I don't know, but yeah, people take it out on the puppet.
People do. They get enraged, and they believe the source to be the piece of felt before them.
Yeah, but I mean, in a way, it's perfectly understandable because working with a puppet, let me tell you, folks, it's a goddamn nightmare.
Right.
I mean, first of all, they get all the good lines, they take all the attention away, and it's just you don't want to be working with a piece of cloth. They don't write any jokes. Let me tell you that much. And hello. Well, that was awkward.
Well, I stand by everything you said, Chris.
So do I. Maybe we should go puppet free, like some other.
Oh, John. I'm sorry, Chris. Man. Yeah, the actors in the original series, they just couldn't wait to put the whole experience behind them.
Yeah, and there were they said there were trap doors all over the set for, so the puppet guy could make ALF work.
Yeah.
And then, so we were walking around the set with freaking trapdoors that fall through. That's not going to make anyone's day better.
Very hazardous.
Yeah. And then here's another thing when I read the Wikipedia article. In the first season of ALF, and in this movie as well, they have there's two ways to portray ALF. One is as a puppet, and the other is as a little guy in a suit.
Yeah, walking around.
Right. And after the first season, they got rid of it. It was just a puppet because the little guy they hired to play in the suit, his salary demands were too high. I don't know if this is someone in Wikipedia just messing with us. Because how do you not just find another short person?
Well, this short person, I believe, was 29 inches tall.
Right. Which is about how tall a 4-year-old is.
And it's very hard. Oh, okay. You're saying a 4-year-old could have portrayed the alien.
All they got to do, there was no line, so all you got to do is walk around in a suit, But yeah, they decided to get rid of that so they didn't have to pay this guy all the money. So he went back to, I don't know. I don't know what he went back
Hungary.
to. Hungary.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was Hungarian, and he
Well, I was
also
gonna say
performed as part of Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey.
Oh, well, there you go.
He was an attraction for their outfit.
Yeah.
Now, in this scene we just watched, this sort of meeting covert meeting to decide what's going to happen to ALF.
Right.
I'm sorry, not in this scene, but in another early scene, we learned something about Colonel Milfoil. Now, that's Martin Sheen's character,
Okay.
who wants to incinerate ALF.
Now, in Apocalypse Now, wasn't he also playing a colonel?
Colonel Kurtz, yeah, right?
Wait, I thought that was Brando's
That's
character.
probably Brando. I got here early, Chris.
You know, maybe he wasn't a colonel then. Maybe he was a major. Never mind. I thought maybe they had done some sort of sly reference to it, but probably not.
There is a sly reference to another film,
Oh, okay.
and we'll see that in just a little bit.
Oh, okay.
And for regular viewers of ours, you'll be amazed. So we learned something about Colonel Milfoil. Again, that's Martin Sheen, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
When he was very young, his mother was visited by aliens.
Oh, right.
And they conducted experiments on her,
Yeah.
drove her to madness, and she eventually committed suicide.
Well, that's his version of the story.
He may be an unreliable narrator, sure.
Yeah.
So he's resentful toward extraterrestrials. So while ALF is being held, he's subject to a series of experiments.
Right.
Many of them psychological, some physical, but the psychological ones are the best. Prior to one such exam, Dr. Warner, played by Ed Begley Jr., has a fatal laboratory accident. Let's see this.
Medic! Medic!
Hello, ALF. I'm Dr. Newman.
No need to ask who you're replacing.
We're going to try a little game called numeric sequencing.
Does it involve electric shock?
Absolutely not.
Forgive me if I'm a little paranoid. There's still a silhouette burnt into the linoleum.
Well, it's been officially determined that Dr. Warner had a heart condition, and his unfortunate death was totally unrelated to the mild shock that he received here.
I'd be ready for litigation if I were you.
Well, that's not your concern at this point.
The man was cooked in his shoes.
Could you stop the tape?
His glasses were fused to his skull.
Stop the tape.
He was a cinder.
Stop.
Yeah. Now, we could play 5 more minutes of this badinage with the various doctors who come in.
Yeah.
Through it all, ALF keeps referencing the death of Dr. Warner. Now, my favorite of those lines is, which we're not going to see, he was removed by a chimney sweep. I like that one a lot. And now we get to see the roast of Dr. Carnage.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Carnage.
Yikes.
Yikes yourself.
Just so we understand each other.
I'm going to show you some pictures.
Are they of you?
No.
Good.
Yeah, man, that's funny.
You like that part?
Yeah, I really like that. That was really funny.
Well, we're going to skip ahead, yeah.
And then he later goes on to accuse her of being a lesbian.
Well, we're gonna see that.
Oh, my mistake.
Yeah, let's. This was on ABC in 1996. It's a kid show.
That's the kind of no holds barred comedy you could get away with in the 90s.
All right, let's see this.
Tell me about this picture.
I wondered when we were going to get around to the Star Trek stuff.
Ah. So you know about the Starship Enterprise?
I know it's an icon for millions of people who don't have a life.
And tell me about your spaceship.
My ex-spaceship. Now it's a pile of rubble, much like my life.
And what about your life, ALF? Are you unhappy? Tell me what frightens you.
Besides the Fox network?
Besides the Fox network.
Can I ask you something?
Of course.
I'm a bit curious about the don't ask, don't tell policy here in the military.
What about it?
Well, I assume it's worked to your advantage.
Now, here's something that was always true of ALF. It was kind of like Pee-wee's Playhouse in the way that it was ostensibly made for children. But there were jokes that would go over the heads of children and entertain adults.
Right.
I find this movie to be far more extreme than anything I saw watching the original series.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
But also very funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny.
So this footage we're seeing now with the different doctors talking to him, this is played during the meeting they're having to decide what's going to happen to Alf. And there are basically two parties, right, Chris?
Right.
There's Martin Sheen, that's Milfoil. His lackey, he has a lackey.
Sort of. Like, I think of a lackey, I think of like a sycophant. This guy's got, we find out in the end, he's kind of got his own agenda. But yeah, he's a subordinate.
Okay.
Yeah.
But a yes man.
Right.
And they're all for killing Alf. Now, there are two people who are not for killing Alf.
Right.
They're named Rick and Melissa.
Yeah, they were kind of like defense lawyers in this, whatever the setup was there.
Yeah. They're advocating for the release of Alf. They're allies, or Alf-lies.
Good one. Yeah, there's also weird sexual tension between them.
Yeah. There's definitely an attraction there.
Yeah.
And they want Alf to be released.
Right.
That's what they're there to lobby for.
Well, yeah, but then they pursue a different tack.
Well, yeah, because it becomes clear that Milfoil, Martin Sheen, Chris.
Martin Sheen. Yeah.
Yes. He has a secret plan to hasten the execution of Alf.
Yeah, he's going to shoot him full of rat poison, which is not subtle, but that was his plan. And they see the order for the rat poison.
Right.
The good side, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. So what they do, and by the way, Rick and Melissa are played by the folks who played Tim Allen's brother and sister-in-law in Home Improvement.
Those are some solid credentials.
So, so what they do is they decide to basically abduct Alf, and go into business for themselves. So,
and by going into business for yourself, you mean completely destroying their careers and subjecting themselves to a life in prison?
Yeah, but they have an affection for Alf because he's a decent man.
Well, there you go.
A decent Melmacian. And
solid, well thought out plot.
So to this end, they hide him in a mailbag and sneak him off the base. Now, when they get on the road, Melissa lays out the plan from there. Let's see this.
Do we get where we're going?
Where are we going?
Ever hear of Dexter Moyers?
Yeah. UFO guy got drummed out of NASA.
No, he wasn't drummed out. He resigned. He testified in front of a congressional committee that alien sightings should be made public. So they transferred him to simulator maintenance.
How come you know so much about him?
He was a friend of my father's. I called him and he offered to help us.
Where does he live?
Near the Arizona and New Mexico border.
Oh, goody. I should be able to swim out of this bag by then.
Yeah, they haven't stopped at a restroom.
Oh, okay.
And that's causing Alf some distress.
Yeah, I thought I missed. I thought because they were driving through the desert, he was going to sweat that much. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, for some reason, regardless of their urgency to get to Dexter's house, they do stop for the night and stay at Sun Valley, California's iconic Pink Motel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't think we're going to see the legendary signage, but it does appear twice in the film. So during the night, Alf, for some reason, he won't stop jumping on the bed.
Yeah.
So there's an encounter.
Right.
With a neighboring guest.
Uh-huh.
He knocks on the door.
Are we not going to see it?
And registers a noise complaint. No, we're not going to see this.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fitting because honestly, I was laughing just as the scene began that's a funny concept, but then they don't really do as much as I think they probably could have done with that, you know?
Well, I don't know if we're not going to see it. If you want to address what they could have done better.
No, I just thought they could have been funnier than it was.
Okay, so that
because
scene.
the neighbor thinks that they're like a honeymoon couple, and that's why the bed's hitting the wall all night.
Right.
But that's just kind of like said, and then that's kind of the end of it. So, got a few bugs flying around here.
Now, when the guy knocks on the door, they have Alf hide in the bathroom.
Yeah.
When the guy leaves, what's her name? Melissa goes into the bathroom, and ALF is not there.
Right. Went out the window.
Yeah, went out the window. Now, in this movie, the Pink Motel is managed by Ray Walston, who was TV's My Favorite Martian.
Yeah. I think it was something else, too.
Well, yeah, but I think it's notable for this film that he was TV's My Favorite Martian in a sly nod to sitcom Aliens of the Past.
Gotcha.
So here's the scene where Ray Walston encounters ALF.
Hi. Do you have a phone?
What?
All right, take your time, get over the initial shock, then answer my question. Do you have a phone?
Pay phone outside.
How about a coat?
What for?
You said the phone was outside, didn't you?
Yeah.
Then I'll need a coat and a hat if you have one.
Yeah.
And I'll need a quarter.
Yeah. Sure. Anything. You're not gonna bite me, are you?
Not for a quarter.
You're not from around here, are you?
Minnesota.
Yeah, that's what they all say, isn't it, Chris? Is that a reference to the Minnesota Strip?
Yeah, probably.
Not the movie Off the Minnesota Strip, but the legend of the Minnesota Strip.
Yeah.
As covered in the film Off the Minnesota Strip. In fact, for a better understanding of that and pretty much all the jokes we've done on the show since we've watched that movie, you might want to check out our episode on Off the Minnesota Strip starring Mayor Winningham.
And Herb Monganus.
Yes. So, ALF just wants the belongings he's left behind.
Yeah, he had like a whole, he got set up with like a casino gaming room.
Yeah, he had a whole racket.
Yeah.
He was selling bootleg videotapes.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff like that. Merchandise, stuff. Yeah.
So he had earned a lot of money, and he would like the money he earned, and also his pool cue in case. Well, I think we're going to see some of this.
But he's selling all this is coming from the people on the military base because the rest of the world still has no idea that he exists.
Yes.
Yeah.
So these are the people there to guard him and to shield him from the outside world. So he borrowed the quarter. He borrowed the coat. He makes a phone call to the base. Now, as I said, the Pink Motel is in Sun Valley, California. But for the purpose of this film, it's in Arizona. And that purpose, Chris, is a prolonged pun on Eagles lyrics. Let's see this.
Jay Barrick, Sergeant Murphy.
Murph, is that you?
ALF? It's 5 o'clock in the morning and too early for room service.
I'm not calling for room service. I'm not even calling from my room. Ask me where I am.
Where are you?
I'm standing on a corner somewhere in Arizona, not a fine sight to see. Hold it. There's someone slowing down to take a look at me.
Yeah, right. I'll go on a flatbed Ford, huh?
How'd you know?
Just a guess. Good night,
I
ALF.
have a radio.
Wait a minute, Murph.
I'm not kidding.
You're telling me you're off the base.
Yes, I was kidnapped by Rick and Melissa.
Major Hill and Captain Mulligan?
Oh, forgive me. I forgot my protocol.
Where?
So yeah, now word is out that ALF is gone, where he is, and who he's with.
Right.
That's not good. So ALF spies an establishment across the street from the phone booth. Do you remember what that's called?
I believe it's the Kitty Cat Club.
Kitty Cat Club or Lounge, yeah.
Yeah, Kitty Cat Lounge, yeah.
Yeah, now he makes an assumption that is incorrect.
Right.
After a decade of living on Earth and in America, he has not copped to the fact that we don't.
He still thinks you can go into a restaurant and order a cat sandwich.
Yes.
Well, he doesn't get out much, you know. He's in kind of like a quarantine, you know.
All right. Well, Rick quickly figures out where he is when he sees the sign as well.
Yeah, or maybe Rick
he probably just wanted to go into the Kitty Cat Lounge.
Hey, he said to Melissa, hey, you check around the block. I'm going to go check the strip club.
So Rick gets Alf back to the hotel, and Alf confesses that he tipped off the government to their whereabouts. Here's the problem. They're in a military van. That's an issue.
Right.
They're not going to be able to make it much farther in the military van. So Alf trades the government van for Ray Walston's classic Cadillac to complete the trip to visit Dexter. He's the ex-NASA employee. So when the three arrive at Dexter's, Melissa goes in first to chat with Dexter. And we learn a little more about her.
Melissa.
Pleasure to meet you again, Dr. Moyers.
Please, it's Dexter, and call me Dex. Can't believe it. You were the spitting image of your dad.
So I've been told.
That's right. Her dad is Faith Hill.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to say to a woman. But is that all for that clip?
That's all we have.
Yeah, I mean, this sets up a really weird love triangle between Rick, Melissa, and Dex, which frankly doesn't make much sense. Doesn't really influence anything plot-wise. I guess they just needed that in order to get Rick an excuse to leave, but they could have done it another way. It's really weird that they put this. It's also done in a way that's very unbelievable. Like, everyone falls in love with this woman upon sight of her. Like, I don't know. It's just weird. Meanwhile, well, not Alf, though. He has his eyes on someone else.
He does. Yeah. So, Melissa and Rick, they introduce Dexter to Alf. Now, meanwhile, back in Arizona, my favorite Martian is arrested as the government van is towed off the property of the Pink Motel.
Yeah.
Now, we're back at Dexter's. Everyone's having dinner. This includes Dexter's assistant, Nina, to whom Alf has taken a liking, as you just pointed out.
Yeah. And also a new character we haven't seen until now.
Oh, we're going to see the character. Yeah. But this is also where Dexter reveals his hope is to introduce Alf to the public on a worldwide broadcast.
Yep.
Rick appears to resent Dexter immediately, as you pointed out, because of his abilities, his accomplishments, all the things that Melissa seems to be impressed by. But one of those things is his ability in the field of robotics. Let's see this.
You rang, sir.
No, but while you're here, would you mind vacuuming my lap? Nina needs a clean place to sit.
He likes Nina.
I'll return with the shop vac. Next time, I'll remember to lay down a tarp.
That's the first robot I've seen with attitude.
Yeah, I modeled him after my ex-wife.
You designed Rocket yourself?
Yeah, when I was...
Yeah. I mean, to me, that should have been the whole movie, is him and that robot. They're hilarious. And this guy got in a pretty good line with the, I modeled it after my ex-wife.
Right.
But, Alf and the robot that's what makes this movie.
Did it remind you of Rocky IV?
Oh, yeah. I immediately thought of Rocky IV.
So Rick suspects there's something dicey about Dexter's split with NASA, that he was kind of shouldered out at some point.
Yeah.
For an infraction. And he brings it up. But Dexter's explanation...
I don't recall.
Well, it leads Alf to an unprovoked attack on Neil Armstrong.
Oh, yeah. That was great.
With you, smack me.
Here's what happened. 1978, two other NASA test pilots and I spotted a UFO over Utah. And I was the only one to publicly admit we'd seen anything.
The government denied everything and Dex was demoted. He could have been the next man on the moon.
The first guy was sure a bust.
Neil Armstrong?
Yeah. He had about as much personality as sled tracks. And that one giant step thing. I mean, who was his speechwriter? Andy Rooney?
No, I think Neil came up with that himself.
They should have left him on the moon.
Perhaps not a more beloved figure in American history. Alf goes off on him. I forgot that was even in there. Yeah, but, Rick is suspicious, and it's weird that this guy Dex, he lives on a mansion in the middle of like this giant property that has its own highway. Like you would assume it's the kind of place where Elon Musk lives, and he used to work for the government. That doesn't make sense. So like Rick has every right to be suspicious here. Yeah.
Now later that night, Alf wakes Rick up because he wants Rick to help him with something.
Oh, okay.
Alf wants to use Dexter's computer so that he can email Murph, the guy he called from the phone booth. Probably just so he can tell him that life in the fast lane isn't a peaceful, easy feeling. So Rick agrees to help, but he stumbles upon a screen that says Operation Payback.
Yeah.
And unsure what that means. So then Dexter appears.
Right.
And Dexter points out that the computer activates the room's security cameras, which is useful information.
Mm.
So he's now suspicious of the two, Alf and Rick, and he appears to be hiding his true intentions for Alf. Now, Milfoil, that's Martin Sheen. He's back at the Pick Motel.
Wait, I'm sorry. MILF oil?
Milfoil.
We still talking about Logan Long? What? Milfoil. Got it. I'm done.
Martin Sheen, you're fine, Chris. Relax. He's back at the Pick Motel, and he's examining the room where Alf stayed. Throwing away all the garbage and going through everything.
Oh, right.
So during the night...
We're not going to see that?
No, we're not going to see
That's
that.
funny. They have like all these, like a dumpster full of garbage from the hotel room. He goes, how long were they here? 6 hours? Alf makes a big mess.
He eats a lot of food.
He has 6 stomachs.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the explanation for why he eats so much. High metabolism in the alien species.
Especially from Melmac. So during the night, Rick, he flees Dexter's residence. From a diner, he phones a friendly contact back on the base and asks for any information he can pass along about the Lobo incident. And
that was
something
Dex fired.
Well, that's the rumor. The
Okay.
scuttlebutt that the Lobo incident got Dex fired. Now, I looked into the Lobo incident.
Oh, it's a real thing?
In certain circles, there is something called the Lobo incident. And it involves somebody who was involved in psychiatry in the country of Brazil when it was a dictatorship, I guess.
Right.
And the school of thought that this person put out there and practiced and made people believe and agree with was that if you disagreed with the government, you had some sort of psychological disorder. So I don't know if that's directly a reference in this film to that, but that was the only thing I could find on it. Well, that call Rick makes to the guy back at the base, that's intercepted by Milfoil, Martin Sheen.
Yeah.
And he soon shows up at the diner to take Rick into custody. So we're back at Dexter's, and the team's preparing for something. There's a whole team preparing for this big event.
Yeah. The TV unveiling of ALF to the entire world.
Right. And it's going to be on a show hosted by a guy called Nigel Neville.
Yeah.
Which, to my surprise, was not a character on EastEnders. It appears to be a Larry King type.
Yeah.
Who broadcasts from London. I mean, he has the big glasses. He has the suspenders.
You know, I can tell you in watching the first few episodes of ALF after this, ALF called into the Larry King show. So much so that it was causing problems with the family budget, with the phone bill. So this must be like a long-running thing, I would have to assume, with ALF, is him going on these types of shows.
Now, this is off topic, sort of, but did you see the one where ALF became a big fan of a polka program?
No.
I think it was called Polka Panorama or something to that effect.
No, I didn't.
And he used his spaceship to rig it was going to be canceled, so he used his spaceship to rig the ratings to make it the #1 show in America. So we could keep watching it. So while everyone is preparing, because Dexter has a TV production facility on his compound.
Sure.
So they're going to go live with this guy in London who is basically Larry King, but in Britain.
Yeah. Did you catch what network he's on?
No, what was it?
The Global TV Network.
All right.
I believe a lot of people there went to Community State. and the security guards are doing overtime from the what was it last week? The Metro City Police Department.
Metro City.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope nobody gets injured and has to go to County General Hospital. So ALF is getting ready for his debut TV appearance, and he's really focused on his monologue. Let's see this.
I thought I'd open with a joke or two.
No jokes, Alf.
Here's one. What's the difference between a shower curtain and toilet paper?
I don't know.
So you're the one. Get it? Then I thought I'd segue in.
Yeah, you like that?
Are you kidding?
You've never heard that before?
No. Oh, they didn't write that for this movie?
Chris, that joke is so unoriginal. I assume this was a tribute to another classic TV alien, Robin Williams.
Oh, I'm disappointed, man. I'm disappointed. That's the first time I've heard it. I loved it, obviously.
It's a great joke. That's why it's been around for 87 years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
All right. So Melissa overhears some of Dexter's
If
staff.
I'd known that, we'd be having a whole different conversation right now. I'm not going to improv that, so. I'm not a.
So speaking of whole different conversations, Melissa overhears one. Dexter and his compatriots are discussing Operation Payback.
Right. The secret thing that they discovered on Dex's computer.
Yeah. Now, she confronts him about this, and he confesses to what it is. Do you remember what it is?
He wants to sell ALF. Right?
To the nation who bids the highest.
Yeah, or the whatever concern bids the highest, I guess.
And after this confession, Melissa is whisked away into a side room. Meanwhile...
By the way, when he unveils his plan to sell ALF to the highest bidder, he goes out of his way to specify that he won't accept pesos. And for no reason other than just crapping on people, on countries that use the peso as their currency.
So, Rick, I guess this happened outside the diner. He makes a deal with Milfoil.
Right.
Rick's in handcuffs now. He makes a deal. He'll reveal ALF's whereabouts if no harm comes to ALF. So Milfoil agrees. When Rick points out that ALF will be revealed to the world in less than an hour, and if this happens, Sheen's career will be a sham. Now, here's where I'm a little confused, Chris, because it appears to be that Milfoil seems to think if he kills ALF, he'll become president.
Yeah. Yeah, it really makes no sense from this point out. Either his plan or the undoing of his plan both made zero sense to me. But yeah, I mean, they had to wrap it up. They had no more jokes to rip off, I guess. I'm so disappointed that wasn't.
Well, it's a stock joke. It's like something you might have found in a book decades ago. So the TV program begins. Dexter's talking to Nigel Neville, and he's promising this revelation. Proof of alien life on Earth, which is ALF. Well, ALF gets cold feet and locks himself in a bathroom.
Well, it's not like cold feet like show business wise. He's kind of on that there's something amiss going on. You know, he's kind of wise to it.
Okay, I hope so. I didn't pick that up.
That was my impression. Maybe I'm wrong, but
no, ALF is definitely smart enough to make that move. So,
because he notices that Melissa, who's now locked in a room on Dex's compound because she found out what he was up to,
because he told her.
Right, he told her. But he notices that neither she nor Rick are around anymore, so that's what arose ALF's suspicions, and that's why he didn't want to be on TV now.
All right, so ALF bails on the broadcast. So, as at the same time, Milfoil's guys storm the compound, and shut down the production.
Yeah, but not before Dex asks his makeup person, "How does my hair look?" And the person responds, "I'm sorry. Let me start over." You're going to tell me this joke's ripped off too, but it really made me laugh. So he asks his makeup guy, "How's my hair look?" And he says, "Sparse."
Yes. So at the same time, all of this chaos is happening. Milfoil's men, they storm the compound.
Right.
And but you hear Nigel Neville, and it's kind of faint in the background, but you can hear him say, "We'll be right back with Terry Garr." And I'm not sure we pointed this out earlier, but Nelson Mandela was bumped for Alf's appearance.
Yeah. Well, an alien is bigger news than Nelson Mandela, but...
Well, true, but he had time for Terry Garr on the originally scheduled Nelson Mandela program. All right, so now, as I said, we learned earlier that using the computer in that one room, it trips the security cameras.
Okay.
So Rick and Martin Sheen, Milfoil, are having a conversation, and Milfoil confesses his plan to kill Alf. So, of course, Rick just hits a couple buttons on the keyboard, and all of this is recorded. Meantime, Alf is taken back to the base and is confronted by Milfoil. Let's see this.
Psychic hotline.
Now you listen to me, you furry little freak. When we exterminate you, we're going to be sending a message to every other extraterrestrial out there. We will no longer be intimidated. Not me, not my mama, not anyone.
Your mama? Did he say his mama? Where did that come from?
You drove my mama insane. You and your kind.
I didn't even know your mama. I'm sure she was a great mama.
In 48 hours, the committee will reconvene to determine your future, or the lack of it, to be more precise. Project ALF is about to be terminated. Not just the project, but the ALF.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it cut out right as he saluted Alf. Do you normally salute prisoners? Not sure that's military protocol. There may have been a little bit of overacting on Martin Sheen's part in this film. But.
Well, he might have been auditioning for the West Wing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he was thinking. This role will make me president. That's the only possible parallel I can, or line to draw between his intentions in even being here and becoming president.
Yeah.
I don't even know. So, but things don't work out for Milfoil, do they?
No, they don't.
No. The recording soon surfaces of him exposing his scheme to murder Alf.
With rat poison.
Yeah. Well, I believe it was sort of an experimental serum.
Okay.
But
they did
lethal.
use the word serum because Alf asked if it was like cherry flavored or something.
Yeah.
It was funny. Yeah.
So as a result of this, Milfoil is found out. I guess he goes to prison or the brig or whatever occurs.
Yeah. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. It really didn't make much sense because they found out that Milfoil was going to murder Alf, but it really, like, they were going to do that anyway after they convened the thing that we saw in the beginning, the, like, trial type of thing. And it didn't seem, like, all of a sudden then they go from, we're going to kill this guy, to, oh, he's great, we're going to celebrate him. And it just was based on what? Just because this guy had a requisition in for some poison? It didn't really, it makes no sense. None at all.
Well, Rick and Melissa do all right for themselves.
They do. They get promotions.
And so does Alf.
Okay.
Yeah, he gets declared, he's made an interplanetary ambassador.
Oh, okay.
Now, this could have been, we said at the top that this was meant to be the final episode. But it was also like Viper, in the sense that it was possibly a pilot episode for an ABC version of ALF.
Yeah.
And that, of course, did not happen.
Yeah. But, I mean, where do you know that for sure?
Yes.
Or are you speculating? Oh, okay.
Yes.
I wonder what the format of that show would have been, because the original show, the setting was a house, and he wasn't really allowed to leave that house. He does get thrown in the pound in the one episode I watched. But that was back when they had the little person who could run around in the suit.
Right.
In later seasons, they were confined to the house because they had to just use a puppet all the time. So I wonder, like, you can't just have him out in the world at large. It would be a much more expensive show to make.
Rick and Melissa. They become the new Tanners.
Oh, okay. So he's just living in their house.
Yes.
But the world knows about him. He would be a worldwide celebrity. It wouldn't make as much sense.
He's a rumor at this point. He didn't appear on the Nigel Neville program.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I assume when they make you an intergalactic ambassador that
it's an honorary title.
Oh, okay. No official duties to that.
Yeah, and you understand the Beastie Boys are not they're not Earls.
Okay. Damn. I'm finding out that my world is shattering tonight.
Is there anything else you want to say about this film before we rate it?
No. I think we covered it pretty thoroughly, to be honest. I mean, it's just a fun thing with jokes, you know.
So what do you give it?
You know, I would. You remember how when we rated the Tiffany Amber Thiessen movie? How would you say that? And
I say it Thiessen.
I gave her boobs one score and the movie another and averaged them out.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that here, and I'll give ALF a 5 and the movie a 2, and whatever that is, 3.5.
3.5. All right.
Well, I'm going to give the ALF and the robot together a 5, and the rest of the movie. Yeah, the robot was great.
Well, I pretty much agree. I'm going to give it a 3, simply because ALF is fantastic in every scene. Very funny. And all of his lines were one-line jokes that were very enjoyable, and I like the wisecracking. I miss that, and it was good to see him on TV again.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so 3 out of 5 for the Bull. Chris, is there anything we didn't talk about you might want to talk about?
No, I don't think so.
Well, in that case, I think we did it. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. I'm Steve Rees. For Chris Morgani, Oski Wiwi.
Oski Wawa.
Holy Magano.
Tigers.
Eat 'em raw. We did it.